Shabbat Shalom. Welcome Shalom Park and all of our guests. Everyone is welcome at this service. I'm Rabbi Bertie Becker. We use a siddur that was made for Shalom Park, but it's mostly prayers that you know, and you can just sing right along. L'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'Adonai. L'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, l'tzuy sheheinu, nikadma fanav b'toda. Naria, naria, l'tzuy sheheinu, nikadna fanav b'toda. L'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'Adonai. L'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'chuna ranana, l'Adonai. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose and meaning. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this Shabbat day fulfills its promise to us. Come, let us sing joyfully unto God. A new song, Shir Chadash. Shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. The earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai. Shiru l'Adonai. Kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, Shir Chadash. I will sing a new song unto God. Page 4. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam umlo-o. Adonai malach tagel haaretz yismechu iyim rabim. Anan v'arafel sevivav tzedek u'mishpat. Mechon kis-o. Or zarua l'tzadik ul yisrei lev simcha. Let light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright in heart. Exalt in Adonai, you righteous, and give thanks to God's holy name. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu l'har kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. And on page 6, we greet the Sabbath bride, l'chadodi. Ya la 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 l'chadodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabala, l'chadodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabala, la 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 la, shamua v'zachor, b'dibur echad, ishmiyanu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'liti, la 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 la, chadodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabala, chadodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Shabbat Lechuvenecha Himakor Habaracha Merosh Mikedem Nesucha Sof Ma'asa B'Makshavati La Chadodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Mikabbalah Chadodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Mikabbalah. We rise as we are able, physically or spiritually, to greet the bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam nesimcha tzochala, toch amunei am segula, boi chala la chadodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat mikabbalah, chadodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat mikabbalah. We're on page 10, the Psalm for Shabbat. In the ancient temple, the Levites they were the chorus, and they had a psalm that they sang each day. This was the psalm for Shabbat. Not the melody, but the words are the same. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'lisamer l'shimcha elyon l'hagid b'boker chastecha ve'emunatecha b'leilot. Yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la. Page 11, the top, together in English. It's good to thank Adonai, to sing praises to your name, to proclaim your love every morning and your faithfulness every night, to the sound of the 10-string lyre and the music of the lute and the harp. Your works, Adonai, bring me gladness. Of your deeds, I joyously sing. Tzadik kadama yifrach yifrach, tzadik kadama yifrach. Tzadik kadama yifrach yifrach, tzadik kadama yifrach. Ka'erez belvanon yizke, ka'erez belvanon yizke, ka'erez belvanon yizke yizke. Ka'erez belvanon yizke, ka'erez belvanon yizke, ka'erez belvanon yizke yizke. The call to worship on page 13. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, unripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before. Lest routine set my ways. Mahuet Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv, aravim. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. And we get ready to receive God's love of the world, and then we return it with the V'ahavta. Sandwiched in the middle is the Shema. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Akein Adonai Eloheinu B'shofbenu u'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem hayenu B'orech yameinu Uvahem negeh Yomam v'layla V'ahavatcha al tasir Mimena l'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu le'totafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvish arecha. And you shall make for yourself seats on the corners of your garments throughout the ages. The seats are a reminder to do all my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Out of Egypt to the Sea of Reeds and across the sea to the other side where Miriam took up her timbrel and all the women sang together and Moses and all the men joined them. Mihamocha Velim Adonai, Mikamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nara Tehilot, Osefele, Nara Tehilot, Osefele, Mahutecha, Rauvanecha, Bokei Ayam, Lifnei Moshe, Ze'eli, Anu Ve'amaru, Adonai, Loch Lelam Vaed, Michamocha, Velim Adonai, Mikamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilot, Osefele, Nora Tehilot, Osefele, V'nemar Kifad Adonai, Et Yaakov, Ugo Alomi and Hazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael, Michamocha, Velim Adonai, Mikamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilot, Osefele, Nora Tehilot, Osefele. Help us, God, to lie down in peace. Raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, and guide us with your good counsel. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom u'shmor tzeitenu uvo'enu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 25. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. We rise as we are able for the Hatzi Kaddish to be followed by the Amidah, the standing prayer, the central prayer of the service, our conversation with God. Page 26. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemnei Rabba ba'alma dibra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon uvchaye docho beit Yisrael bagala Magala uvizman kariv vimaru amen Yeheshme Rabba mefarach la'olam ulal me'almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yit hadar, v'yit ale, v'yit halal, shemei dekudashah barichu, le'ela min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, da'amiran belma, Vimaru, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot, Umevi Goel Livnei V'nehem, L'ma'an Shemo, V'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ufoked Sarah, Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atarav, Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim B'chesed, Mechaye Metim B'rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umito Melach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nemanata, V'hachayot Metim, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechaye Hametim, Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Praise to you, Adonai, holy God. Heaven and earth and all their beings were finished. God completed on the seventh day the work that had been done and ceased upon the seventh day from all the work that had been done. God blessed the seventh day and set it apart. For on it God had ceased from all the work that had been done in carrying out creation. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Ritzei v'Mnuchateinu, Kodshenu b'mitzvotecha, V'tein chelkeinu b'toratecha, Sabeinu mituvecha, V'samchenu b'shuatecha, V'taher libeinu, V'taher libeinu, Le'avdecha be'emet, V'hanhilenu Adonai Eloheinu, V'hava v'ratzon Shabbat kodshecha, V'yanuchu v'Yisrael, Mikadashei shemecha, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Page 35. When we are overwhelmed by life circumstances, shield us from defeat with your words of promise. And when we are troubled by turbulence in our lives, shield us from chaos and confusion with your reassuring words of Sabbath peace. Shalom, Rava Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom, Rava Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam, Tasim Leolam. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamavarech Amo Yisrael, Vashalom. We take a moment for our own prayers. back on the last week. What are you grateful for? What would you like to share? What brings you peace? What could bring you peace for the coming week? Oh, say shalom b'mromam. Oh, yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Imaru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael. Imaru amen. So this week is a double Torah portion, and it's called Acharei Mot Kedoshim. So Kedoshim, from the word Kadash, holy, sanctify. And in the midst of Kedoshim, Acharei Mot we know because we read it on holiday. Kedoshim, sometimes for Reform Movement Reconstructionists or Renewal, they will also read from Kedoshim because it's the holiness code. So in the midst of this section is the very famous phrase, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your neighbor as yourself. And it doesn't mean just a feeling. What it means is to deal with other people appropriately, to deal with them honestly, to deal with them as you would want them to deal with you. And to give that over to a feeling, it came out as love. We might think of it as also kindness or fairness. But in the Torah, 36 times it tells us to be fair, be good to the stranger, because we know what it's like to be strangers in a strange land. So this week's story is called The Boiled Eggs, and it's in a book called Jewish Stories One Generation Tells Another, retold by Penina Shram. One early morning, the Balagola was driving his wagon through the countryside. He had just taken a customer to the train station and was returning home. While he rode, he spoke aloud, as was his habit, to himself, to his old horse, and to God. As he was driving by a small inn, Moldal realized he was very hungry. He had left his house before sunrise, rushing to make sure that his customers would not be late for their train. After tying his horse to a post and making sure the animal had hay and water, Moldal entered the inn for breakfast. He ate 4 boiled eggs and a thick slice of bread and butter, and drank a glass of sweet tea, expertly breaking the piece of sugar between his teeth. But when Moldal reached into his pocket for his change purse, he realized he had lost his money through a hole in his pocket. As a result, he could not pay for his breakfast. "I will stop by when I come this way again," he promised the innkeeper. What could the innkeeper do but trust Muttel to keep his word for half a ruble? Months went by, and Muttel still did not have an occasion to drive by that inn. In time, he forgot about his debt. And as it happened, Muttel decided to go to America, where so many of his relatives had gone. They had written to him about America in such glowing terms: a golden land, a place where the streets are paved with gold, a land of golden opportunity. So Muttel went to America too, and he had good fortune, because in no time at all he had made a great deal of money. And with his wealth, Muttel still longed for his home in the old country. So one day he decided to return to the old village. When he arrived at the train station in his village, it was already Friday afternoon. He hired a balagola to drive him to his former house. And on the way, as he was passing the inn, he suddenly remembered about the breakfast he had eaten there so many years before. He quickly shouted, "Stop here for a moment. I must repay a debt that I owe." Muttel entered the inn and immediately recognized the innkeeper, although the innkeeper did not recognize Muttel, for now he was a rich man and dressed like one. He looked like a nobleman. Muttel approached the innkeeper. "I have come to pay my debt for a breakfast of 4 boiled eggs that I ate here a few years ago. At that time I had no money, and so now I want to pay what I owe you." He took out his purse and handed the innkeeper half a ruble. "Half a ruble!" exclaimed the innkeeper. "What do you mean by paying me half a ruble? Let me give you a complete accounting of what you owe me." To himself, the innkeeper thought greedily, "Here's a way that this person, this newly wealthy peasant who wears such fine clothing, can give me some extra money. I can make a little off of him." "Let's see," counted the innkeeper. 4 eggs would have hatched 4 chickens, and they each would have hatched 16 chickens each, which makes 64. Then in turn, that would have hatched 1,024 chickens. And the innkeeper went on rapidly calculating the amount until he finally said, "And so you owe me not half a ruble, my friend, but 16,285 rubles. "What? How is that possible?" cried Muttel. "Do you take me for a fool? How can I pay that amount when I don't even have that much?" The innkeeper insisted on payment, or else he would call the police and have Muttel arrested for not paying his bill. Since it was almost Shabbos, it was too late to go for a policeman in the next village, and the innkeeper asked the shamus of the shul to put Muttel up as a guest until after Shabbos. Then they would go to the judge's house for him to decide the case. As you can imagine, this Shabbos was not as joyful as Muttel had expected. He tried to enter into the spirit, but was not able to forget, even for the day, his outrage over the injustice that the innkeeper demanded. By the afternoon, the caretaker's young and clever daughter, Leah, could see that there was something bothering their Shabbos guest, and she asked him what was troubling him. As they sat in the little cottage drinking a glass of tea, Muttel told her the story. Leah listened and replied, "You are right to feel upset. Don't worry any longer. I have a plan." And she smiled reassuringly at Muttel. The next day, the innkeeper and Muttel drove in a carriage to the judge's house. As the judge listened to the innkeeper's case about how much Muttel owed him for the 4 boiled eggs, the door opened, and in came Leah carrying a sack filled with roasted chestnuts. "Here they are," she said abruptly to the innkeeper, handing him the sack. "I will begin planting tomorrow." The innkeeper, surprised, exclaimed, "What is this? What are you planting?" The innkeeper quickly opened the sack and burst into loud laughter. "This is a good one. Do you take me for a fool? These chestnuts are boiled. You foolish girl. Chestnut trees don't grow from cooked chestnuts." "So they don't," answered Leah. "But neither can boiled eggs hatch chickens." The judge smiled and agreed. All that Muttel owes is half a ruble for the breakfast of 4 boiled eggs. And that is what Muttel paid the innkeeper. The innkeeper's reputation spread, and no one ever stopped at that inn again. It pays to treat people fairly. Love your neighbor as yourself. We take a moment to send prayers of healing out into the world. The prayer for healing is on page 37. Mishabarach avotenu makor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishabarach imotenu makor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And if you want to put their names into the chat, say their names out loud. And let us say Amen. We send those prayers out into our city, into our state, out into the country and around the world, and then up into the heavens. As you are able, physically or spiritually, please rise for Aleinu. Page 39. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teik gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyeh haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, l'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטש שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהן מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. May all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. On that day, Adonai will be one, and God's name will be one. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Page 44. Please be seated. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own Zikronam Livracha. May their memories be a blessing. At Shalom Park for the coming week, we are remembering Esther Braverman, Kaya Ginsburg, Herbert Lorber, Thomas O'Leary, Charles Smith, Jean Brooks, Evelyn DeAnda, Helen Nelson, Evelyn Sunshine, Luda Kiefer, Vera Rothschild, Rosa Kyman, Albert Levin, Jeannie Goldstein, Tilly Goldberg, Maud Smith, Lucy Zwang, Marguerite Walken, Judith Dolganov, Alice Macaulay, and Yefim Goldfeld. If there are other people that you are remembering, please say their name now. Of course, we remember those who continue to die from COVID at home and around the world. If you are in Shiva, the first 7 days, Shaloshim, the first 30 days, or Shana, the first year, please rise as you are able. If you are observing a yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, please rise. And if it is your custom to rise for those who has nobody to say Kaddish for them, particularly those who have died in wars or battles for Israel or for the United States, please rise and join us. Page 45. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah. Ba'alma di v'ra chirute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imeru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mivarach Le'olam U'almei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal. Shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran ba'alma v'imaru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imaru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol yoshvei tevel. V'imaru. Amen. May the one who grants peace in the heavens bring peace and comfort to all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. And at this point, we pause for a moment to light Shabbos candles and to do Kiddush and a motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh bereshit. Yehu yom tehillah lemikra'e kodesh. Zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'charta V'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shaba kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. And a motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen. Angels are another name for feelings. When we love and act with kindness, we create the angels of love and kindness. It is our job to fill the world with angels and messengers of love and kindness who link people together as one family. And On page 48, we finish with Shalom Aleichem, inviting the angels in. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Baruni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Have a beautiful weekend, a lovely week to follow, and I will see you next Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.